Susan Bradley again for CSO Online, reminding you of why disabling basic authentication is really important. We talked about it earlier in regards to Office 365, and now we're going to talk about on-premise Exchange and how you can do it with Exchange 2019. But first, how about a little bit reminder of why passwords are, quite frankly, so easy for attackers to get to. Recently, there was a Microsoft blog put out that really showcases how easy it is for attackers to get our credentials. Let's start out with credential stuffing, where basically they have already got our password. Why do they already have it? Because we reuse passwords so often. We go to a website, we put in a username, we put the same password in because we don't see it as being that important of a site, and then we reuse that password over and over again. Then comes along an attacker. They attack the site, they grab the database of passwords with the hash values, and then they can go through and say, hey, let's try and reuse those passwords in all sorts of other locations. So do they need to spend a lot of energy trying to break that password? No, because they already have it. What about phishing? How easy is it to trick somebody to handing over your credentials? Unfortunately, all too easy. About 0.5% of all inbound emails are phishing attacks. Keystroke logging, discovery, extortions, password spray attacks. The list goes on of what attackers can do to get your information. And if you ever think, oh no, it can't be me, my password isn't out there, just go out to the site haveibeenpwned.com and put in your password and see how often that password has been owned in various different database breaches. For example, my personal email account has been breached 19 times on various sites. Adobe's breach was being the first. And in fact, when you scroll down the list and see all the different sites that my email account has been breached, some of them I don't even remember, and I don't think I've signed up for, but because they shared information with other databases, my email account and my password got compromised. Look at all the different places. Scary, huh? And a reminder that if you use a username and a password, better known as basic authentication in Office 365, the attacker can use it too. So, what can we do? Remember, we've already discussed how to disable basic authentication in Microsoft Office 365, but for those of you for on-premise Exchange, what options do you have? You do have an option. For those of you deploying Exchange 2019, it now provides the ability to disable legacy authentication. With the second cumulative update, CU2 for Exchange 2019, you can do the same thing that you can do in Office 365 and disable that legacy authentication method. Now, before we disable legacy authentication, let's make sure that we've got some things in mind. You want to make sure that you understand the impact to your environment. So look to see if there's any applications that you use or additions to Exchange that rely on basic authentication. Talk to your vendors. Do the research ahead of time. Make sure that the clients, all the different applications that you're using to connect to your Exchange, also support modern authentication. So for example, you need to make sure that you're on Outlook 2013 or later, Outlook 2016 for Macintosh or later, Outlook for iOS and Android, or Mail for iOS 11.3.1 or later. If you're not on those versions, you can't support the modern authentication. You'll also have to make sure that hybrid authentication is working in your Exchange environment. And if you still do use Outlook 2013, you'll have to make sure certain registry keys are in place. For example, you'll have to enter 2 registry keys under HKey Current Users, Software, Microsoft Office 15.0, Common Identity, and then enable ADEL, and then go down to Version, and make sure you've got a DWORD registry key 1. Now, once you have all that in place, you can go into the Exchange PowerShell and put in place a policy. So what you're doing here is you're building a new authentication policy with the name Block Legacy Auth, and you're setting up that all the different ways that that you connect into Exchange use, or I should say block, the legacy authentication method. So for example here, AutoDiscover, IMAP, Offline Address Book, POP. Legacy web services are all turned off to make sure that legacy is not used anymore. Then the next step is you build a list of all the users in your organization and you insert it into the script. Now, if it's a brand new Exchange 2019 deployment, you can set up the legacy auth blocking from the get-go. It just depends on how you set up Exchange. So keep in mind that multi-factor authentication added to your environment blocks 99.9% of the attacks out there. Let me restate that again. As they say here in the blog post, your account is more than 99.9% less likely to be compromised if you use multi-factor. So whether it's Office 365 or on-premise email, look to see if you can roll out multi-factor authentication. It's very key in today's environment. So, until next time, don't forget to sign up for the Tech Talk from IDG from the YouTube channel. This is Susan Bradley signing off for CSO Online. Thanks again.